Anthony Suarez with Unleashed Consulting and your Best Boss Take 5. Our Take 5s are 5 minutes or less tips, tricks, strategies, ways of thinking about leadership and management that will really boost your confidence and your effectiveness as you lead your people. Our Take 5 for today is building on our previous two Take 5s around team building. What does it take to really build an exceptional team? So for this last in our series, I wanted to talk to you about the importance of connection before content. Oftentimes what people do, what managers do when they are having their staff meetings, their team meetings, is to often dive right into the business. I mean, isn't that what we're about, right? We are here for work. Let's all dive into the work. It's a great mantra for keeping us moving and motivated as we go throughout our workday. But when we're dealing with teams and when we're dealing with human beings, we want to take advantage of the time that you have at the beginning of every interaction, every meeting, whether it's a one-on-one meeting or a team meeting, and really leverage that time to develop interpersonal connection, trust, perhaps a little bit of vulnerability. All of that is important, not because it seems like it's a good thing to do, but it's actually the right thing to do. The research is super clear and compelling that the best of teams have the kind of relationship with each other where they're able to not only respectfully dialogue and problem solve together, but also to challenge and to work through disagreements, and in fact see those as opportunities for collaboration and further team building. So this connection before content time, I want you to think of it in terms of three different ways. So thinking about the specific team that we're referring to, think about what they need in terms of that connection with each other. Again, based on, we want to keep building that connectedness, that vulnerability, that sharing, that interpersonal connection that they have with each other. What do they need? At what level do they need this? So if you're dealing with a new team, odds are pretty good it's going to be low risk kinds of activities or questions. A team that's been together for a while that you want to bring to the next level, you want to start bringing in those kinds of connection before content activities that are a bit higher risk. And then lastly, when you have teams that you really are looking to pour some gasoline on to really build them up to be the strongest team possible, and they are able to do this. This is the important thing. You want to make sure that they're able to do this. I'm going to suggest to you to do some pretty high risk, high vulnerability kinds of connection before content activities. So specifically for a low risk kind of activity, there are lots of things out there that you can Google and find, but basically it's those kinds of prompt questions that you introduce your meeting with and say, let's just go around the room and do a quick check-in with each other. How are you doing? What do you need to say to be absolutely present here for the meeting? What do you need to share? And also here, how about one question that we'll all answer together? What's in your refrigerator? What would we look and find in your refrigerator? You can imagine what people will say. There'll be a little bit of laughter, but also in sharing what would people find in their refrigerator, whether it's just an empty fridge or a full fridge or whatever. People are sharing in a way that actually builds that interpersonal vulnerability and trust with each other. So what's in your fridge is an example. Who is your best boss? What was your best boss like? Or one of my favorites is worst or first. What's your worst job or your first job that you can share with us? You can imagine there's quite a bit that people will have to say about that. So those are my favorites for that low vulnerability. For medium vulnerability, one of my favorite exercises is tell us your childhood story. Specifically, there are 4 different components to this. Where did you grow up? Where were you in your family, birth order or whatever, your family of origin? And what was one thing that was particularly impactful for you as a child that informed you to be the kind of leader that you are now? So again, this is medium vulnerability because people can say nothing if they don't want to, right? Nothing of import. But my experience has been that folks take advantage of this opportunity to share some pretty deep and personal things with each other, or at least relatively deep and personal things with each other around trauma, around challenge, around opportunity. And so I highly suggest that. For a high risk activity, you want to be really careful with these, but one of my favorites is the human statue activity. So that's where you ask folks, we're going to spend 10, 15 minutes together, and I'm going to ask you to silently come together, stand up, come together. This is a little bit tricky in a virtual environment, so we'll have to figure out how to best do that. But how would you arrange each other? How would you touch each other, support each other, or maybe not touch each other, but maybe, get in the space of the other person to really represent how this team operates together, who is supportive, who is driving decisions, who is our best resource. So it does take some creativity, right? But it's a way of really digging into what do we really think about each other? How do we really feel about each other? Now, in a virtual environment like we have right here, you might say, let's just everybody spend a few minutes thinking about how this might look, right? This human statue activity. And then let's come together and share what that might look like. So Danny would be right behind Jackie because Jackie is really leading the decision making here, and Danny wants to support her. Something like that. So there you go. We are over 5 minutes, so there you go. Apologies for that. This is a take 6.5. But I do hope that you found those tips and strategies for leveraging that connection before content time useful. And by the way, if you're interested in hearing more or learning more about how to be the best boss that you can be, please reach out to me, contact me. Would love to work with you. I have openings in my calendar now for one-on-one coaching as well as for individualized, tailored best boss bootcamp experiences. So please reach out to me. Let's just have a call, a chat, and see if we can work together. Thanks so much. This is Danny Spies with Unleashed Consulting and your best boss, Take 5. Talk to you soon. Bye now.